Welcome to GCC Kids Online, everyone. My name is Miss Rochelle, and we are spending a few months finding out the answer to this question. Who does God say I am? We're already learning some awesome things about this, and I am so excited to see what we're talking about today. But first, I think it's game time.
Well, howdy! I sure am glad to bump into y'all. I thought I was lost down here all by myself. These old mine train tracks run all through here like spaghetti. Ain't no way to be remembering where all the tracks go. That's why we done made ourselves a system using none other than the books of the good book. I'm talking about the Bible. Now, my memory ain't what it used to be, so I'ma need your help to get us out of here. Every time these old tracks cross, we stuck ourselves a sign with the name of 2 books of the Bible on it. One will be from the Old Testament, and the other will be from the New Testament. To help us get out of this old mine, make sure to lean toward the sign with the Old Testament book. But if y'all lean toward the sign with the New Testament book, this old train car will just end up even deeper in this mine. Jeepers, no! I'll be keeping a handle on these old rusty brakes so we don't go flying off the tracks. Hi-ho! Let's go! Oh, here's our first sign. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Psalms or Mark? Remember, raise your hands and lean towards the sign with the Old Testament book so we can get this old mine car headed in the right direction. Well, hot diggity! You're smarter than a one-eyed owl. That's right! Psalms is in the Old Testament. Good work. We might be getting out of this mine today. Oh, I think we've got another sign coming up. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Jude or Joshua? Well, wrap me in dough and call me a pie. You're right. Joshua is in the Old Testament. Well done. Now, hang on tight. Here comes the next sign. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Acts or Ruth? Well, paint me yellow and call me Stinky Cheese. That's right. Ruth is in the Old Testament. Good job. Oh, I think I see our next sign up ahead. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Jonah or John? Well, cover me in butter and call me a corn cob. You're right. Jonah is in the Old Testament. Way to go. I think we're getting close to getting out of here. Here comes the next sign. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Ecclesiastes or Ephesians? Well, paint me red and call me a tomato. You're right. Ecclesiastes is in the Old Testament. I think we've just got this one last turn to make, and we'll be out of here. Which of these books is in the Old Testament? Job or James? You're rootin' tootin' right! Job is in the Old Testament. Slather me in barbecue sauce and serve me up, 'cause we're done. You guys did it. You remembered your books of the Bible and got us out of that old mine. Much obliged for your assistance. Now, if y'all will excuse me, all this talk of stinky cheese, one-eyed owls, and corn has got me remembering that I ain't eaten in 5 days. And if my nose don't be deceiving me, somebody's cooking up some cactus and coyote stew right now.
That was so much fun. Now, let's find out our Bible point for today. Can I get a drum roll, please? We need God's guidance. In life, there are always times when we need advice on things, and thankfully, God is our friend and wants to help guide us. Right now, let's listen to the Bible's guidance about worshiping God with our whole hearts and stand up and sing.
Yeah, get down. Yeah, get down.
I get down, he lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. I get down, he lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. In your weakness, he is stronger. In your darkness, he shines through. When you're crying, he's your comfort. When you're all alone, he's carrying you. I get down, he lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. I get down, he lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. I get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down, down, down. I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. You lift me up. I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up, I get down. He lifts me up. Every time I'm down, the Lord lifts me up.
Now, let's see how God provided guidance for a pretty famous guy in the Bible. And by the way, the Bible is one of the ways that God uses to guide us. It is full of His truths that help us know how to live. Let's dig into it right now.
Today, we are going to learn about David. David started out as a shepherd, but eventually God made him king. In today's Bible story, David had just become king. An army from another country called the Philistines heard about it. Now, the Philistines, they actually didn't like David. You see, years earlier, David had killed their biggest, toughest warrior. You may have heard of him. His name was Goliath. And now David was king. They didn't like that at all. So they decided to try and capture him. When problems like this come up, we need God's guidance. David knew that, so he asked God a specific question. So David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hands?" The Lord answered him, "Go, for I will surely deliver the Philistines into your hands." God said to go ahead and fight the Philistines, and David would win. Here's what happened. So David went to Baal-perazim, and there he defeated them. God helped David defeat his enemies. But after a while, the Philistines came back to capture David again. Again, David remembered that we need God's guidance, and he asked God what to do. So David inquired of the Lord, and he answered, "Do not go straight up, but circle around behind them and attack them in front of the poplar trees. As soon as you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the poplar trees, move quickly, because that will mean the Lord has gone out in front of you to strike the Philistine army." Once again, David followed God's guidance and won the battle. It's important for kings like David to seek God's guidance, but we need God's guidance too. One way God guides us is the Bible, but David had only a small piece of God's word. So let's find out a battle plan that's just for us. Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. 1 John 3:18. You see, we need God's guidance. Sometimes He guides us through talking to us, whether aloud or in our hearts. Other times He guides us through wise Christians or through the Bible. We just saw two things the Bible guides us to do: live at peace and show love. So whenever you need God's guidance, check out His playbook, the Bible.
Today, we learned that we need God's guidance. We found out how God guided David and that he helps us know what to do too. We can talk to God whenever we don't know where to go or what to do, or even when we're worried, scared, and sad. So let's learn a prayer together to help us remember that. When I don't know where to go, God, I'll talk to you. When I don't know what to do, God, I'll talk to you. When I'm worried or sad, God, I'll talk to you. Whatever we need help with, we can talk to God. We need God's guidance, and He loves to give us guidance. So let's thank God by saying that prayer all together. You ready? When I don't know where to go, God, I'll talk to you. When I don't know what to do, God, I'll talk to you. When I'm worried or scared or sad, God, I'll talk to you. Guys, thanks for joining us today and learning so much more about God. We hope that we'll see you back here next week. Bye.